Welcome back to Adventures of a Black Belt Sommelier, sponsored by Four Paws Restaurant, the iconic fine dining restaurant in St. Paul, Minnesota, with wonderful food, attentive professional service, and wonderful wines, both by the glass and by the bottle. It's a kind of a work in progress. We try to make the wine list a little bit better every day by adding special things to the list. Um, Storage with wine. Storage is everything. Storage is so important. And this was illustrated to me in graphic detail this week. Earlier this week, I opened a bottle of 2000 Chateau Pichon Lalande to share with the owner here. This is one of the benefits of my position here in this restaurant is the owner loves to share special bottles of wine with me. Um, it's not a terrible thing, honestly. Chateau Pichon Lalande is one of my favorite Bordeauxs. Famously these days is referred to as a super second growth because it wasn't regarded as a first growth back in 1855 when they did the original Bordeaux classification. Um, it might be, well, it's one of my favorite of the super second growths. I love Chateau Lynch Bages, as I mentioned earlier this week. And I'm serving a Magnum of 2005 Du Cru Beaucaillou tonight, which certainly would qualify as well, Montrose. But I love Pichon Lalande because of the elegance and purity of it. Um, uh, Obviously, 2000 is a very great vintage in Bordeaux. It's 25 years old. Um, this is kind of a controversial wine. Uh, Robert Parker gave it very high marks, 96, 98 points himself. He gave it 96, 98 points. Um, Pierre Antoine Ravani, who used to write for Robert Parker and who is someone I very much respect. He's actually now a winemaker in Burgundy, or director of a winery in Burgundy called Ramoissenet. I thought that it was green and vegetal and not very was not a big is not a big fan of this wine. And Neil Martin, who writes for the Wine Advocate about Bordeaux now, I think agrees with Pierre Antoine Ravani. So I'm going to say that this wine depends greatly on the individual bottle. The bottle I opened earlier this week was absolutely stunning. It's entering its period of maturity, but it's got a long life ahead of it. It's beautiful, dark fruit. There's some black olive kind of tapenade characteristics in the wine, which I think may be what comes through to Neil Martin and Pierre Antoine Ravani as herbal notes. I didn't find it objectionable. I found it really very attractive. It's actually pretty full-bodied for a 25-year-old Bordeaux. It's got lots of dark fruit, black fruit. As always with Bordeaux, there's that lavender character. You can sense the new oak, but it's, at 25 years old, the tannins are pretty much resolved, and the oak is just an underpinning to the wine, not an overwhelming characteristic. This is the bottle I opened, which has been stored beautifully in this room behind me, was absolutely a magnificent wine in its heyday, but with a long life ahead of it. Um, it's not going to be inexpensive if you can find a bottle or preferably a case, because more likely that the wine's been stored well if it's still in an original wooden case. It's based on the bottle I opened. It's an absolutely fabulous wine. And by the way, we have 11 more bottles if you'd like to come by and have a bottle tonight. Um, then another guest brought in a Magnum of 2000 Pavillon Rouge du Chateau Margaux, which had been in his car all day. It's really hot in Minnesota right now. He handed me the bottle. It would be an exaggeration to say that I felt like my hand was burnt by touching this bottle, but it was really hot. Um, I wasn't really looking at the bottle carefully. I took it into the wine cellar to let it rest until it was time to serve it that later that night. And then I noticed that the cork was sticking out of the bottle probably 2/3 of the way. So this wine had absolutely no chance of being drinkable because of the way it was stored for a couple of hours, not 20 years, a couple of hours in a very, very hot car. Don't do that. If you have to go to work, take the bottle into your office with you. Don't leave it in your car. Now, to be honest, 2000 Pavillon Rouge is not a great wine to begin with, and it's even in a Magnum, I'd say significantly past its prime drinking period. Um, but if you do that to it, it's not even what little charm and beauty it may have once possessed is going to be ruined by being treated that way. So be careful. Wine needs to be stored properly. It needs to be handled carefully. Um, and then it pays off with tremendous dividends. Thanks for tuning in to Adventures of a Black Belt Sommelier. I hope you'll be looking forward to the episode I'm going to publish Monday. If it all pans out the way it's supposed to, I would say it will be the most exciting of these podcasts that I've done. Gosh, I hope this works out because it's really, really, really cool if it does. Who I'm going to talk to Monday. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend.